In this video, we will be completing the brick wall drawing. If we take a look at the original drawing, we are given a set of measurements. These measurements correlate with the various lines on the drawing. The first measurement is 1 1/8, followed by 1 7/8, followed by 4 inches, and our mortar joints are 1/4 of an inch. The mortar joints are the distance between each brick, so we know that that distance needs to be 1/4 of an inch. Turning back to our other set of measurements, we can easily tell that 4 inches is our longest measurement, and if we take a look at our bricks, our long side of the brick is 4 inches. So then we're left with 2 additional sides of another brick, and we have to apply either 1 1/8 or 1 7/8 to those different sides. Now, visually looking at it, I can tell that the right and left side of the brick is shorter than the top and the bottom side of the brick. This means that the left and the right side of the brick measure 1 1/8, and the top and the bottom side of the brick measure 1 7/8. So on my drawing, I'm going to indicate each of these measurements to figure out where all of these lines are going to go. If I do just a little bit of math and I add up the height of each of the 4 bricks plus the distance of each mortar joint, I get 5 1/4 inches. That is the total height of my drawing. If I do the same for the width, each of those longer bricks is 4 inches. My mortar joint is 1/4 of an inch, so my width measurement is 8 1/4. On my drawing, I'm going to utilize those measurements, 8 1/4, and I'll mark that towards the top of my drawing also, 8 1/4. And I am making reference lines. We had 5 1/4 as our height measurement. And we can connect those together as well. And I now have my overall shape or guidelines for which all of those bricks need to fit within. I'm now going to go back and identify each brick location, referencing our original drawing. Each brick is 1 1/8 inches tall. Each mortar joint is 1/4 inches tall. On my drawing, I'm going to measure up 1 1/8, which is also 9/8 if you are counting the eighth marks individually. 1/4 of an inch, or 2/8, is my mortar joint. I'm then going to count up an additional 9/8, or 1 1/8. An additional 2/8, 1/4. And I'm going to continue that process until I have each brick location laid out. I'm going to duplicate those measurements on the other side of my drawing, and then I can connect those lines together. I now need to return focus to my mortar joints. I'll begin with my mortar joint on my first row of bricks towards the bottom. My brick itself is 4 inches, followed by a 1/4 inch mortar joint. I'm going to duplicate those measurements towards the top of my drawing. And that will allow me to create additional reference lines for my mortar joints. Again, turning back to our drawing, I need my mortar joints for my other layers. Each brick is 1 7/8 width, so I'm going to measure from each side of the drawing 1 7/8 and add my mortar joint. Duplicate that on the top. And I can add those mortar joints in place also. And lastly, I need to darken in my object lines. And our brick wall drawing is complete.